Greetings, everyone. I'm Stephanie Ledger, Chief Excellence Officer of First Rate Hospitality. I have over 19 years' experience leading teams in various hospitality departments. Most of my experience comes from Ritz-Carlton and being an evaluator for hotels, restaurants, and spas with Forbes Travel Guide in North America and Asia. In 2017, I founded First Rate Hospitality to provide a first-rate service for hotels to know where they stand before getting rated with stars, diamonds, or brand standards. I also train employees first-rate service, meaning the highest quality of service. We have taken on clients around the country and are based in Miami, the fun in the sun capital of the world.
How to follow with fun in the sun. I'm Michèle Kline. I'm also some fun in the sun. I'm in Vegas. And I am a hospitality coach, and I've dedicated the past 20 years of my career to operations and human resources. In the process, I founded Kline Hospitality with great passion and in an effort to bridge some gaps between service quality and efficiency, and to motivate leadership and make some changes in the way we lead our crews. And in doing so, I have repositioned some of the grandest brands in the US and in South America. Like I said, I am based out of Las Vegas. I mainly focus on the West Coast. So this is the perfect marriage between the East and the West. And my main focus is in training, in coaching, and doing quality evaluations as well. So why don't we, Stephanie, tell everyone why we're here, how WTF was born, and why we came up with this crazy idea.
Absolutely, yes. What is WTF, Michèle?
So WTF is a safe space. So years ago, Stephanie and I started tagging each other on different things that we were seeing as we were going through many of the hotels and resorts in the US and outside of the US too, and realizing how much fun we were having when we would see mouth opening moments and share it with each other. So we figured it would be a great opportunity for us to bring that here to you, and making sure that it's also a safe environment where we are not, trashing any brand, and we are not mentioning names of any associate. So Stephanie, tell us, what can people do out there in an effort to collaborate with us in this project?
Yes, absolutely. So at the end of our presentation, we will have our contact information. Please reach out. We know that there's stories out there when you are walking the floors. And Michèle and I, we've seen various levels of service from the West Coast and East Coast, from excellent service to where we're asking ourselves, is that even proper service? To, am I even on hidden camera? Because there is no way that just happened. So, however, we know with our service that it's all about, as well with leadership, walking those floors and engaging with their employees to avoid those WTF responses from guests. So we created this mini series to have a few laughs about our experiences and provide some helpful tips to avoid those breakdowns in service.
That's great. So if you don't want to receive that nasty email, stop being a computer desk rat and get out there and walk the floors. Because when we do, we find things like what we're about to share with you today. All right, Stephanie, take it to the next slide. What are we sharing today? Ooh, this is a good one. This was such a fun experience. I've named this one Oregano versus Marjoram. It's not because I have garnish fighting in a bowl, but mainly because it was the wrong garnish when tasting a brand new dish. So the story behind this one is I was working on revamping a restaurant who wasn't doing very good. So we decided to go through an entire rebranding from the way the logo looked, the social media presence the restaurant had, the type of dishes we were offering in the menu, the uniforms, retraining team members, redoing the way the kitchen was, the placement of the items in the kitchen to make sure that they were more efficient in the way they were having those extra steps and eliminating, kaizening the whole thing. So when I get to taste this beautiful parfait, I had a very weird aftertaste, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was. And very quickly I realized this is not margarine, this is oregano. I had one of those ratatouille moments where, it took me back in time to try to match it with something else that was that flavor that was in my memory. And I realized it tasted a little bit like pizza. So
Oh,
that's when I
wow.
noticed it was oregano. And I figured that my poor chef, I don't know if he was super tired at this point or what the situation was.
WTF.
Yes. He had left his sense of taste and smell at home, clearly. So that was quite an interesting moment. And one of those moments where you realize, I am so glad this is happening to me and not to a guest, especially because we were relaunching a restaurant and we were putting a lot of passion and resources into making it work. So that could have been one of those boo-boos that you don't know they happen unless you are walking the floor.
Yes, yes.
So what do you think about this one, Stephanie?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, it's as you were talking about, if it happened to the guest had the allergy, putting them into some kind of shock, and then now emergencies coming, and then it would have just been even further mistakes being down, all because of simple little garnishes. So making sure that you're tasting your food as well that you're serving to having that consistency as well.
Yes, not to mention them going on TripAdvisor and Yelp and telling the world that this is the worst parfait they've tasted in their life,
Yep,
right?
absolutely. Yes. And it wasn't too that expired yogurt or milk that was in it either.
Yes, exactly. So let's see what journey you're taking us into, Stephanie.
Well, we're going in the room. So here
Yes.
with me, these are some recent experiences with traveling on in the room. On, for example, being checked into an occupied room. For as all the traveling that I've done, I probably can count at least over 5 times that I've been checked in to an occupied room. I go in, and here I am getting ready to open the door, and I've either found other guests in my room, other employees in my room, or as you can see, the room from the night before and still in occupied turn down service as well. So here you want to making sure that you're having that communication with housekeeping and front desk. You're walking the floors and the rooms to making sure that the status, whether it be vacant, clean, occupied, that you're trying to eliminate those mistakes from happening, because if a guest is checking in and they're seeing that they're going into an occupied room, there's a lot of safety concerns that will arise and once again turn up on those TripAdvisor reviews. Don't you think?
So let me ask you something before you jump into spooky room, which seems perfect for this time of the year, granted that we recently come out of Halloween. So how many times have you had concerns within some of your properties where perhaps engineering or someone from another department grabs a key at nighttime and goes and takes a nap in one of the rooms that is actually vacant, but
Yep,
it's vacant, clean, and sometimes even inspected at that point. And,
exactly.
instead of making sure there is no trace, because we know these things happen, right? You end up with a situation like this one where probably it wasn't a matter of always the fact that there was an issue with the way we coded that room,
Yes,
right? Whether it was in housekeeping or at the front desk, but sometimes there are other departments that could be interfering in situations like this one, where it's a good opportunity to look outside and think outside of the box and try to come to the bottom of it so that these things don't continue to happen. So something like, for example, checking on doing a key lock investigation or interrogation, that's always a great way to try to come to realizing why is this happening? How is it that we're taking people into occupied rooms when
yes,
not necessarily their luggage is there or there's traces of the guest being there, but still the perception is that there was someone in the room prior to us. So have you had any other situations that you can recall where that could have been the case, as opposed to just a housekeeping or a front desk system status issue?
yeah. I mean, of course, I like it how you're talking about with the key audit. I think, yes, that, managers should do random key audits to seeing where their employees are going, especially on overnights and in the evening. You're working with a skeleton leadership crew. But I had also too where it's been in room dining. So I come in and there's this lovely extravagant food amenity, and I'm like, oh wow, this is amazing. And not even 15 minutes later, here comes a knock on the door, and it's room service saying that they delivered the amenity to the wrong room. Now, how as well do you recover from that if now you've just felt like you're someone special checking in, having that personalized experience, and now they're taking it away and you're left with nothing. And also, as in room dining, did they even communicate to their management about the mistake that was made so then leadership can call and apologize for it, seeing if there's something else that they can do? Nothing. Radio silence. So it's always key to making sure that you're communicating to your leadership what's going on when you're running into situations in the guest. Even when I was at the front desk and saying that I was going into an occupied room, they were just like, sorry, here's your other room key. No follow-up was being done in any of my situations. And that's also too key, that can either make it or break it in the guest stay from going on to that TripAdvisor or Expedia or wherever they're wanting to leave their review of the property.
Yeah, that's a great point. You made a great point, Stephanie, when you talk about departments working in silos.
Mm-hmm.
Because in reality, at the end of the day, and we both train this day in and day out, at the end of the day, it's not housekeeping, it's not the front desk, it's not in-room dining, it's not engineering, it's the actual brand.
Yes.
It's the hotel. Guests will associate the bad experience with the hotel,
Yep.
not with a particular department. So making sure that our departments learn how to work together and we bridge those communication gaps, I think it's extremely important, because that allows us to expedite on the solutions. It allows us to pay attention and learn from those mistakes as to
Mm-hmm.
how do we prevent this from happening again in the future. So I
Yeah.
think you made a great point when you touch on the fact that you have situations like that where you're thinking, I wonder why the letter with this beautiful arrangement that was left by in-room dining service said Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and
Yes.
that's clearly not you, right?
Yeah.
You
Nope.
felt super special for a second there. But it's important that when things like this happen, that we go back and we touch every single department that could have potentially been involved,
Yes.
to make sure that there's a follow-up, there's a follow-through, there's training that comes with it so that it doesn't happen again. That's a great point.
Yep, and also too here, you not knowing they could have already had opportunities and different breakdowns already happened during their reservation, during their car ride service they ordered through the concierge, and now they're coming into their room, and now there's already a third or fourth breakdown that has already occurred, when most departments think, oh, that's the first one that happened, we can fix it. And then next thing you know, they go to breakfast in the morning and they have oregano on their parfait. So it's always making sure too that you're going to the guest as if it's their first and hopefully last opportunity that they're happening and incurring during on property.
Yes, I agree. Great points. Great points. So walk us through Spooky Room.
Oh,
What is
yeah.
that all about?
Spooky Room. I mean, this is just a little fun, but who would have thought that I would be checked into 1313? Now, most hotels don't even have a 13th floor. I think it's a lot of hotels that are built past, I think 1960, 1970. I don't know the exact year, but depending on when they were built, they eliminated the 13th floor. So if you're ever going into the elevator, it's rare that you would see a 13th floor. And now also then to having a room 13 on the 13th floor. I mean, the odds of that happening was just crazy. And so it's not just something of a learning experience, but just putting the guest point of mind into seeing it, of being like, okay, am I going to now get off the floor and it's going to be like The Shining?
It'll be upside down, right?
Yeah.
It'll be sideways. Your floor is actually going to be sideways. This is going to be a great adventure. Definitely a memorable experience.
Exactly. It's like, what is to wait when this elevator opens, and what will I now encounter? And I do not like scary things at all, so it was definitely a little creepy throughout my stay. Just knowing that I was staying in room 1313.
And the importance of making sure that our team members put in work orders, because let's discuss how many potential team members may have taken that elevator.
Yes.
You definitely have someone from public areas or custodial who's, cleaning the area, or EVS, whichever it is that, wherever it is that we are performing these duties, right?
Yep.
There's always someone who is cleaning this elevator. There had to be someone from maybe sales and marketing, or someone from a senior level, or managers, So many could have walked this elevator, and this 13 could have been fixed before more people than you saw it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Some may say it adds characteristic to the elevator, but I do agree of making sure that your items are uniform, including your elevator buttons.
Yes, most definitely. And work orders are important.
Oh,
we'll talk about work orders in a little bit.
Yes.
So what is with luggage placement?
So
I
here
love
we
this
have
one.
luggage placement. So of course, sometimes the room may not be ready when you arrive. And for this situation, my room wasn't ready. The front desk called me that my room was ready. They had my luggage ticket information, so they already had the bellman deliver my luggage up to my room, which I thought, oh, this is great. I don't have to stop by the luggage desk to then give them my ticket and then wait, and everything's already going to be up in my room now.
So far, it was a lovely experience.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Communication, they communicated, this is exactly what will happen now that your room is ready. You just come and pick up the keys. Your luggage is already going to be in the room. I'm like, wow, 5-star service. This is great.
Check, 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 check.
Yes, already they're doing very well. And now I get to the room And this is where my suitcase is placed.
Very interesting.
Yes, you can see that it was just right behind the front of the door. And a luxury property, actually, I think even any caliber property would have a luggage rack to be able to place the luggage properly off of the floor and not so close to the front of the door. Craziness.
So for an absolute OCD person like me, which by the way, I don't see that as an issue because in my career, it has helped me to be extremely detail oriented. It's not even lined up to the wall.
I know, at least.
You see it?
Yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? When you're sitting on the plane by the window and you happen to look out and you're like, oh, there's my bag. And you start seeing the trajectory of your bag to all of a sudden see how they go like, and you're like, I know, why would you do that? Right?
Yeah.
And it just falls in whichever place.
Yep.
I almost feel like whoever delivered that bag, that's probably what happened. Hopefully you had nothing that broke in it.
No.
Good.
But then also too, with the luggage placement, adding on to this as well is making sure, even if they did place it onto the luggage rack, but you need to making sure that the suitcase is placed correctly on the luggage rack to where you are opening it and you can just unzip it and then the bag will flip up where the top of it will be like against the wall. Because I've seen so many times too, the bellman, they place it in a very convenient location on the luggage rack, and then I go to open my luggage and I have to go over or flip it around myself to be able to open the luggage properly. So those are also too just little tidbits to be mindful of the guests when they are using their luggage in the room.
And it sounds minute, what you just mentioned about the zipper, but it is those little teeny tiny steps that add on to that memorable experience.
Yes.
Because now you have to, you start opening, you realize that your top is actually on the bottom. So you're either, if you do it fast and you don't pay attention, everything is gonna fall.
Yeah.
Or you have to hustle with, and it's not terrible, but if you think about it, and if we train our team members to think about those teeny tiny little things, it all adds to the experience.
Absolutely. An excellent experience, service excellence in the experience of not having to then be like, oh, well, why would they place it this way? They must have not, cared or were paying attention to the details.
Yes, absolutely agree. We want to make sure that you come in with us and you tell us some of those stories. I have stories of colleagues in mind that I'm calling them out to make sure that they come in and they share with us because they are way too fun. And Stephanie, I'm sure you do as well.
Oh yeah.
We have some behind the scenes scenes that eventually we'll show with you. But this has been really fun. We hope that we can continue to, inspire you to be a better leader, to be a better communicator, to encourage your team to create memorable experiences through those teeny tiny details. And Stephanie, if you want to add anything to it and then close us out by telling us how people can connect with us if they want to be part of the team or if they wanted to get services on either side of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this was a great first episode, Michelle. And yes, we definitely have those bloopers that will eventually be coming and showing because, hey, we're in hospitality. We've been there and we know what it's like on those day-to-day operations. And it comes down to making sure that you're walking the floors and engaging with your employees. And we're here to help you with different tidbits that we see common things happen and how you can be able to engage. But yes, if you happen to have a story you want to come on and share your experience, feel free to reach out to Michèle or myself via email. We'll see with scheduling how we can get you on board with us for one of our episodes. And we, look forward to everyone of just providing some feedback. Let us know what you want to hear and learn, maybe a certain department to making sure that we're focusing on, or it's a different step of service. We're definitely open to hearing from you what you want to hear and learn more.